In Caracas in 2018, a single bottle of children's Tylenol cost more than a mid-level government employee earned in an entire month. The standard advice for hyperinflation protection usually sounds religious: buy gold, buy land, store food. Yet across every documented hyperinflation of the last 100 years, families who followed that exact playbook still got crushed. They didn't fail because the advice was wrong in principle, but because it lacked execution under total chaos. Forensic records from Weimar Germany, Hungary, Zimbabwe, and Venezuela reveal 5 protection strategies that surfaced among families who came through intact. The first strategy is the barter shelf. The standard narrative is that gold rules during a collapse, but in post-war Germany, the economy ran on American cigarettes. A carton could buy a winter coat, and a single cigarette bought a loaf of bread. Cigarettes functioned with more monetary stability than actual currency because they were portable, divisible, and impossible for the government to print. We saw this repeat in Venezuela, where basic hygiene products, deodorant, razor blades, and soap became functional currency overnight. Gold fails as a transactional medium because its value per unit is too high for everyday purchases. A barter shelf of essential goods succeeds precisely because each item maps onto real, daily human needs. The first step in hyperinflation protection is establishing a physical inventory in your home stocked with medicine, hygiene products, batteries, and shelf-stable calories before the window closes. The second strategy involves utilizing the 18-month warning window. When Argentina announced the Corralito in 2001, freezing all bank accounts overnight, it felt sudden. However, the economy had been visibly deteriorating for over 18 months. Elite capital flight and IMF negotiations were completely out in the open. The pattern is always consistent: visible macroeconomic deterioration, elite capital flight, public denial by officials, and finally, emergency legislation restricting the movement of money. The gap between the first warning and the imposition of controls averages 12 to 24 months. If you live in a country showing early-stage monetary stress, the single highest leverage action available is opening a bank account in a stable, foreign jurisdiction with an independent currency. Moving enough to cover 6 to 12 months of family expenses while the transactions are still legal is what preserved the financial footing of families who survived crises in Greece, Cyprus, and Lebanon. The third strategy is the debt inversion. Everything taught about debt during stable times becomes suicidal guidance under hyperinflation. When a government prints currency to cover its obligations, the real value of all fixed-rate domestically denominated debt collapses in tandem with the currency. Borrowers win and savers lose. In Turkey, citizens with fixed-rate mortgages watched their monthly payments shrink to the value of a restaurant dinner, while the physical home retained its real value. In Weimar Germany, a school teacher repaid a multi-year housing loan with the price of a single newspaper. If you have a low fixed-rate mortgage, your instinct might be to pay it off aggressively because debt feels dangerous. Under inflationary conditions, however, that mortgage is working for you. You are borrowing in a dying currency and purchasing assets that survive. Hold the debt and deploy your extra cash into tangible assets. The fourth strategy is securing a hard currency earn. Your most valuable hyperinflation hedge is a skill that someone in a stable currency country is willing to pay for. During Zimbabwe's peak collapse, government salaries became worthless, but a small population of IT technicians doing remote freelance work for foreign firms earned a few hundred US dollars a month, making them functionally wealthy. In Venezuela, when the minimum wage collapsed to $6 a month, a graphic designer making $15 an hour on an international platform could support an entire extended family. Building an income stream in a foreign hard currency through translation, design, software, or tutoring creates a powerful monetary hedge with zero downside. The fifth strategy is the trust ledger. When formal banking systems seize up, credit networks built on personal reputation and neighborhood trust instantly reactivate. In Lebanon, bakers extended bread on credit tracked in paper notebooks, and mechanics fixed generators in exchange for produce from rooftop gardens. These informal systems are anti-fragile because their collateral is reputation, not money. In Argentina, neighborhood barter clubs exploded to millions of participants trading via locally issued vouchers. Your network of trusted, reciprocal relationships is a vital financial instrument. Knowing your neighbors, participating in your community, and establishing ties with local producers creates a mutual obligation that carries families through the gap between the old system's death and a new system's birth. By the time the average person accepts what is happening, the moves that could have saved them are no longer available. The sequence doesn't vary, only the names change. Acting before the consensus acknowledges the problem is what separates survival from devastation.